Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime.
And breaking news overnight, the U.S. and Israel launching major combat operations in Iran. The rapidly developing situation coming amidst peace talks, Iran vowing a crushing response. Plus, an arrest in West Seneca after police say a school district bus attendant was charged with possessing child sexual exploitation material. And the investigation continues into the death of a Buffalo refugee as lawmakers push for answers.
Live from 2 on your side, this is Channel 2 News Daybreak.
Yeah, those local stories are just ahead as we begin with this breaking news from overnight. The U.S. and Israel have launched a major attack on Iran, with smoke just now settling across the capital city of Tehran following a series of initial strikes around 9:30 local time. Early this morning, East Coast time, President Trump saying, quote, major combat operations are underway targeting military installations, government and intelligence operations. He addressed the nation this morning, saying the new conflict would end a security threat to the United States and give Iranians a chance to topple their rulers. He addressed the nation earlier this morning, just after 2 a.m. when those attacks happened in Iran.
For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take.
Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu echoing that goal, and Iran responding as it had threatened to do for months, launching a wave of retaliatory strikes on Israel and U.S. military installations in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar. Reports of casualties on both sides are unconfirmed at this time. Well, 7:02 on Daybreak, and thanks for joining us here, streaming on WGRZ Plus and on WGRZ.com with the special report and continuing coverage on NBC this morning. We want to get right to the weather and a forecast for you this weekend. Kevin is over in the Weather Center with a check of things for us as we begin to cool back down, Kevin, just a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. Interestingly, our high for the day is probably happening right now. We'll be about 10 degrees cooler, I think, about 12 hours from now or so. So again, 47 right now in Buffalo. You see 40s all throughout our viewing area from Toronto all the way to Bradford in the 40s Fahrenheit, but that will not last. The rain has cleared to the east, as we highlighted yesterday. There will be some pre-daybreak showers, and indeed off they go to the right, giving us a dry day today. And generally speaking, a mix of sun and clouds for our day. So for our afternoon, the temperatures will be in the 30s, but today's the better day of the week. And ironically, as we flip to March, we're actually going to cool down a little bit with more wintry temps. We'll take you through the first 6 days of March, of course, in the full forecast. Rob?
All right. Thank you, Kevin. 7:03 now on Daybreak, and in West Seneca, an employee for the Central School District has been arrested for child pornography. The district announced that David Sklasky, a bus attendant for the school district's transportation department, was arrested for possessing sexual performance material for a child under the age of 16. Now, School Superintendent Dr. Lisa Kruger posting this letter on the district's website, stating that they do not believe Sklasky's charges involve any West Seneca students or his job with the district. It also states that Sklasky is no longer employed by the district after Lancaster police informed the district of his arrest yesterday morning. Kruger adds that the safety of students is of utmost importance. Well, questions continue this morning about the circumstances surrounding the death of Nurul Amin Shah Alam, a 56-year-old refugee who lived in Buffalo. A local immigration attorney we spoke with says it may have been a breakdown in communication, not necessarily a violation of policy, that led to Shah's death. The attorney says Border Patrol providing a ride to someone after they post bail is a courtesy, not a requirement. Meanwhile, some members of Congress are calling for a federal investigation. An autopsy report has not yet been released, but the cause of his death remains unknown, although indications are that it was of natural causes. Well, over in the town of Tonawanda, there's a sign winter might be letting up as the town board announced that overnight parking will be lifted. The ban there will be lifted starting today, thanks to a favorable weather forecast, of course. Town leaders say residents and visitors should still try to park off the street if heavy snow returns or you see snow in the forecast. That'll help highway crews keep the roads clear, safe, and help them do so effectively. Well, Tonawanda Supervisor Joe Eminger gave his annual State of the Town address yesterday, where he provided updates on several key projects that town officials are working on. Supervisor Eminger said the focus of the State of the Town this year is tomorrow is today. And Eminger says a number of the projects that have been in the works for years he plans to cross the finish line with. The Huntley plant included, the new ambulance service as well, those moving forward. Well, the former Tonawanda Coke plant as well, and the Cherry Farm Park. The supervisor also says the town's new ambulance corps has been a success, providing that service to residents at no cost to taxpayers.
We have our waterfront, okay, which historically has been heavy manufacturing, heavy industrial, okay, and now we're going to be bringing people to the waterfront, you know, for recreational purposes. We're going to have development going on. When you get to the Huntley site, you're probably going to see some residential component on that, on the waterfront. So these are things I think that we haven't seen in our town in the 190-year history of the town.
Now, Eminger added that he won't be supervisor when these projects are complete, as his time in that role will come to an end at the end of next year. About 7:07 on Daybreak, and Vandermark Chemical says they plan to shut down their Lockport site later this year, issuing a warn notice to the State Department of Labor. In a statement to 2 on Your Side, the company said they expect to halt operations in the second half of 2026. The state's database does not list the warn notice quite yet. We're told that it's in process. The state labor department says it will reach out when more information is available. Well, also in downtown Buffalo, a popular coffee shop is moving. Our partners at Buffalo Business First report that Jack's Corner Cafe is relocating across the street on Genesee with plans for more seating and a larger kitchen at that new space. The owner says the new space will also allow for new menu items, including quick grab-and-go options. The cafe is expected to open later this spring. The new mayoral administration in Buffalo says it has big plans to breathe new life into downtown. For the first time, we're hearing from Mayor Ryan, who's tapped to lead that effort. Now, we spoke with Buffalo's new director of development as well. He says he's bringing more than a decade of experience working on projects across Western New York. He believes the city needs more downtown housing, along with key infrastructure improvements to support future growth. 2 on Your Side's Chelsea Swift has that story.
Buffalo's new director of development, Andrew Federick, has a message for business owners across the city.
We're here to help. We're here to do whatever we can to do to keep them going and to make them successful.
Since 2025, dozens of businesses across the region were forced to close their doors. Federick says the pandemic had a significant negative impact on the economy and cities across the nation. He says in order to re-energize Buffalo, downtown must transition from a 9-to-5 workplace destination to a 24-hour city.
The only way you do that is by creating housing where they can come and live and where they have amenities in order to be able to live. So office conversions is going to be a big thing.
The city is working to identify properties that need help and projects that have stalled. He provides examples including AM&A's, the Buffalo Grand Hotel, and the Statler.
Infrastructure is something that can't be ignored when we talk about downtown development. There's been a lot of neglect, unfortunately, with infrastructure downtown.
Federick says the city may need money from the state or resources from the Erie County Industrial Development Agency. He says he spent the last 4 years working with that agency as the Director of Property Development.
Working on the redevelopment of the former Bethlehem Steel site in Lackawanna, working to transform that from, kind of a vacant piece of land into a 21st century business park.
Before that, Federick worked for the Erie County Executive as a senior economic development specialist during the pandemic.
I have a lot of experience with businesses, just a lot of experience with the economic development team overall, and just really excited to be here and to be impacting the city.
Well, thank you, Chelsea. Frederick says while it may be discouraging to see some local businesses close, new ones are always moving in. He says an Albany area movie theater, as we reported this week, is moving into the Market Arcade in downtown Buffalo. That theater closed just 2 months ago. He also points to another positive sign, including the March Madness tournament, the NHL draft, which are both expected to bring thousands of visitors and millions of dollars into downtown. Well, coming up on Daybreak, after months of back and forth, former President Clinton has completed a deposition as part of the Epstein investigation. We'll have info from that deposition coming up. Well, 7:13 on Daybreak, and in a marathon deposition, former President Clinton answered questions from lawmakers in their investigation into the late Jeffrey Epstein. The two sides had haggled for months before agreeing to speak in New York. NBC White House correspondent Monica Alba has the details.
For the first time in more than 40 years, a former president testifies before lawmakers. Bill Clinton facing the House Oversight Committee in its investigation of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
We will continue to try to get the truth to the American people and justice for the victims. Justice was not served in Palm Beach when Epstein was first arrested.
We are thankful that President Clinton came in and answered tough questions from both the minority party and the majority party.
And from his first words, the former president set the tone for his deposition, saying, quote, "I know what I saw and more importantly, what I didn't see. I know what I did and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and did nothing wrong." Bill Clinton's name and picture shows up hundreds of times in the Epstein documents the Justice Department released. Photos with Epstein on Epstein's plane and with Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. The former president has acknowledged traveling on the plane while doing work for the Clinton Global Initiative, and he's never been accused of wrongdoing related to Epstein. Many high-profile names appear in the files, including Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Bill Gates, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and President Trump, whose name and photo come up thousands of times. He has said he ended his friendship with Epstein years before the late felon was convicted of sex crimes. Democrats say Republicans set a precedent today by deposing former President Clinton, and now the sitting president needs to answer questions too.
This investigation will not be complete until we bring President Trump in to answer questions under oath. I'm hopeful that Chairman Comer will have the courage to move us in that direction.
Republicans push back, saying the survivors they've spoken with haven't implicated the president in anything.
That was Monica Alba reporting. Officials from New York State and the Office of Civil Service visited North Tonawanda yesterday, speaking with residents there about how they can help improve how state government works. Now, 2 weeks ago, the governor's office announced and launched a new program called Express New York. State officials say this is an effort to make government work better by tackling out-of-date and excessive regulations, policies, and practices. This program is collecting ideas from residents from across New York on topics including how to speed up housing and infrastructure projects, support small businesses, and make services easier to access.
She wants to hear from the public on ways that we can improve the efficiency of state government and some of the policies and some of the barriers that they see. And so, as I said, she always wants to hear back from the public on how we can do better to serve them.
Now, the Express New York program runs through April 3rd, and you can send your ideas and concerns to the state through their online portal on New York State's website. Well, a big win last night for the Sabres as Alex Tuck and Lyon helped lead Buffalo past Florida. Now they hit the ice again tonight to face Tampa Bay. Plus, the Bandits also win in overtime and head up north to face the Toronto Rock. A quick turnaround. We'll have the details coming up on Daybreak. Now the Buffalo Sabres are back on the ice tonight, coming off a 3-2 win over the Florida Panthers last night, courtesy of a controversial call for no goalie interference. It was an interesting one. Buffalo has won their first 2 games back from the Olympic break. Last night's victory also moved them into second place in the Atlantic Division with 23 games to play. Alex Tuch scored his 23rd goal of the season on the power play, and Alex Lyon had 27 saves in the win. The Sabres head just down the road to Tampa to face the Tampa Bay Lightning. The puck drops at 7 p.m. And the Buffalo Bandits are back in action after a rematch of last year's National Lacrosse League Finals. So they hosted the Saskatchewan Rush. In a tight game that went to overtime, the Bandits pulled out a win 11-10 and improved to 5-6 on the season. Tonight they're back on the floor up in Toronto to take on the Toronto Rock. Face-off there is at 7 p.m. And the Junior Sabres 14U hockey team is volunteering today at the Western New York Foster Closet at McKinley Mall. It's happening from 10 a.m. to noon. They're helping organize and support the Closet's efforts while setting an example of service and teamwork for other groups. Last year, the team helped raise $4,000 through a car wash to support an injured player. And a call for car enthusiasts here in Western New York as the 33rd annual Cavalcade of Cars gets underway at the Hamburg Fairgrounds. The show has 150 different vehicles that are rare to find anywhere else. That includes the famous Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Organizers put this show together for a great cause, partnering with the Buffalo Autism Project to raise money for people on the spectrum.
We're big on autism here. We like to raise money for them. They have a table set up here with several items that we're doing auctions on. And we'd like to raise at least $5,000 to $10,000 this weekend for them. I personally have a connection to autism with family, so I believe this is something really important here, and that's why we've been doing autism for the last 9 years.
Now the Cavalcade of Cars goes from 10 to 9 today and from 10 to 5 tomorrow. Admission is $18. Kids 12 and under get in for free. And not a bad weekend to get inside. I know we've dodged the rain, a little bit of sprinkling this morning. Help with that snow melt again, too, Kevin. My lawn's almost clear.
Really? All right. Yeah, it will be. You'll probably have green grass next weekend, certainly, because we've got a couple days with below average temperatures as we flip the calendar to March. But we're going to rally with an extended mild streak.
Yeah, by February. See you later.
Just a little bit of flakes you'll see in the forecast. Thanks for joining us. Your high for the day is probably happening right now. But today will be the milder day of the weekend. The February day of the weekend today is going to be warmer than the March day of the weekend tomorrow. Again, a couple maps to show you. Again, generally speaking, I just wanted to show you that the green is temperatures in the 50s, and I think we're going to have a warming trend. The colder air is going to be locked up well to our north. We showed this yesterday. These are the temperature projections. We are likely to be above normal. We should be the highs in early March are upper 30s. We're going to lean above average coming. You'll see at the end of the 7-day forecast. And then beyond this is, from now to the St. Patrick's Day parade is 2 weeks from tomorrow. Yeah, and we're likely to have above average temperatures as well. Now, the negative of this is we're also going to lean wetter than average, okay? So it's not going to be sunny and 65, but we're going to have, it's not going to snow, and we're going to have to deal with some showers, it looks like, or some shower opportunities, 2 weeks out or so, okay? We're going to have a regime with above average temperatures, but above average precipitation possibilities, okay? Now, let's talk back to the present and back to the future look to project your weekend for you. I'm going ice skating today with my young daughter. This is the warmer day of the 2 days of the weekend. The rain has already cleared. It's going to be partly cloudy for our day today. You can notice the wind is mixing up a bit. Tomorrow there'll be more of a northern flow. This is tonight. There'll be like a trace of snow overnight, especially if you're by the NYPA line. I didn't even include it in the graphic. You may wake up to a coating if you live south of Springville. Okay, but tomorrow We're going to start off mostly cloudy. Notice the northern flow bringing in colder than average temperatures. We're going to end up partly cloudy tomorrow. So mostly cloudy in the morning, partly cloudy in the afternoon. The wind is not really a factor, 10 to 15 miles per hour in terms of velocity. And Monday is going to be a pretty day, but once again, a little bit colder than average with the northern flow. And then we do warm up to above average temperatures you'll see in the 7-day forecast. So, we had our high already. We're in the 40s right now, and then the temperatures are going to sort of dwindle, and our afternoon will be in the 30s when you're out and about this afternoon. And then we fall through the 20s tonight. We start off mostly cloudy tomorrow. We expect to be on regular good old-fashioned terrestrial television tomorrow, 6:30 to 8 a.m., barring any breaking news. Partly cloudy, 23 for our high tomorrow. This is our last couple of days. We're going to have the 4 zones as well as we end lake effect season and go back to the 2 zones, which we have during the fairer weather months. So again, here we go with a wintry mix. On Tuesday, you can see the warming. We are in the 50s for Friday with the chance of being, I think we're likely around 50 next weekend as well. We'll be back after this.
Now 7:27 on Daybreak, and local assembly members are pushing for a $250 million investment in local airports. They hope to be included in the state budget. Lawmakers argue that Western New York has been left out of previous rounds of state funding, despite Buffalo Niagara International Airport being the busiest upstate airport and handling about 60% more passengers than its closest competitor. Together, Buffalo's airport and Niagara Falls International Airport generate roughly $1.7 billion in economic activity and support nearly 14,000 jobs.
What we want to be doing is doing what we're doing at another level. And we're not going to be able to get to that level until we have an airport that really looks like what it should look like tomorrow. And, I often, and I've said it before, in Buffalo, we punch above our weight class. And we're able to punch above our weight class because of the people here and the industries that we have and what we're able to do. But this airport is part of that, and if we're not able to, if we don't invest in this airport the way that we should, we're never going to be able to compete on the level we should be at.
Well, if included in the final budget, the funding would allow both airports, Niagara Falls and Buffalo, to compete for capital upgrades aimed at modernizing facilities and strengthening the region's economy. Now, 10 Lives Club is celebrating its 25th anniversary gala today from 5:30 to 9 p.m. The event honors 25 years of rescuing and rehoming more than 50,000 cats across Western New York. Guests can enjoy dinner, live music, auctions as the organization marks this milestone with supporters and community members. Recovering after a recent robbery, it'll be a night to remember. As we go to break, a live look outside for you. It's 7:28 right now on Daybreak. We'll be right back after this. Kevin's going to join us on the roof in this 46-degree weather. We'll take it. Well, right now on Daybreak, details on the federal investigation underway. That police in Ohio say a Buffalo man met a missing teen before she disappeared. Plus, fallout continues over the crash involving Erie County Narcotics Chief DJ Granville, with new files released and changes at BPD. And skaters are lacing up for one final weekend at Canalside after a strong season drawing tens of thousands of visitors.
Live from 2 on your side, this is Channel 2 News Daybreak.
Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning and the final day of February. A nice view of the city of Buffalo and 46 degrees for you. I'm Rob Hackford. We appreciate you joining us here on WGRZ Plus and streaming on WGRZ.com. Want to get right to the forecast this morning and some good news for today. Kevin's up on the roof with a check of things for you. And Kevin, you barely need that jacket considering you got that thick blood from winter still.
That's right. It's interesting how, like, yesterday was, low 40s, light winds, and it felt fantastic. And today's going to be a day where it'll be a nice day. If you are outside for an extended period of time, you are going to want the hat and gloves. The temperatures are actually going to fall backwards into the 30s. But yeah, here we are in the mid 40s right now across much of western New York, low 40s in the southern tier. And again, the rain has passed to our east. Now we have a dry day for the remaining of our Saturday, the remaining hours of our Saturday, indeed the remaining hours of our February, because we flip to March tomorrow. But we dial back the temperatures to more of a wintry feel. Yes, I can proudly project that March 1st will be the coldest day of March because it's going to be a high of 23. We do make it into the 40s and even to the 50s in the 7-day forecast. But again, a problem-free forecast, Rob. This afternoon will be in the 30s, but tomorrow we're stuck back in the 20s.
All right, thank you, Kevin. 7:33 down. A Buffalo man is now facing federal sexual exploitation charges. Charges that are believed to involve a missing teenage girl from Colleran Township, Ohio, who disappeared 2 weeks ago. Officials say during an investigation into that missing girl, surveillance video from her home in Ohio showed her getting into a black Jeep Grand Cherokee that 43-year-old Kyle Lawrence of Buffalo had rented. The two then stayed at a Cincinnati hotel together on January 31st before the girl went missing. On Thursday, the FBI found several electronic devices containing child porn at Lawrence's house. He admitted to using the app Snapchat to message the girl and used the app's location tracking to find her in Cincinnati. We do want to clarify that Lawrence is not being accused in the girl's disappearance. Now, according to the Justice Department, Buffalo FBI agents had been in contact with Lawrence back in May of 2024 after he allegedly traveled across the border to Canada with intentions to commit statutory rape with a 15-year-old. A citizen vigilante group confronted Lawrence there in Canada and reported him to authorities. This is still a developing story. We expect to learn more about this situation in the near future. Now, this morning, we continue to follow a story we've been covering, the release of internal affairs files related to the crash involving Erie County Narcotics Chief DJ Granville. The response to that crash has led to changes within the Buffalo Police Department. 2 on your side's Nate Benson has the story.
As Mayor Ryan rolled out the release of the Granville files on Thursday, the Buffalo Police Department updated, or in some instances, created new policies. The big one, a conflict of interest policy.
It forbids any officers from participating in actions where personal relationships could compromise or even appear to compromise their objectivity.
And it
requires disclosure, recusal, and a written documentation.
Which is something that was not in place on April 11th, 2024, the night Erie County Narcotics Chief DJ Granville crashed his county-issued work truck into 7 vehicles. His sister-in-law, Lieutenant Lucia Esquilin, responded to that scene.
Unbelievably, there was no policy saying you can't be the responding officer on your relative. Like, there's no policy or rule against that in the Buffalo Police Department, which is unbelievable. But those were the rules in effect on that day when that phone call was made.
2 on your side sat down exclusively with Commissioner Macy to talk about how he was contacted that night, and that story is available right now on WGRZ.com. But we also talked about some of the other changes he implemented since becoming the acting commissioner in January, including one directly related to vehicle crashes involving other law enforcement agencies.
Then if there's another situation with another law enforcement agency for their vehicle being crashed in the city of Buffalo, at the very least, their watch commander, their on-duty watch commander or equivalent of, whether it's a captain or whatever, needs to be notified of this accident, right?
Additional general directives issued by Macy include how to govern the use of vehicle cameras and the body camera policy, as well as reporting misconduct.
So again, we're talking about perception, right? And I don't know, I was not at the scene, if there is a million things done wrong or everything is done right with this accident that we're talking about 2 years ago. There is the perception that nobody can deny, that there was, it was not handled as good as it could have been.
That was Nate Benson reporting. Plug Power is pulling the plug on its project at the Stamp site in Genesee County. The company telling 2 on your side it has signed a $132.5 million agreement with Stream Data Centers to sell its Project Gateway site. Plug Power says the sale is part of a larger plan to raise more than $275 million to strengthen its finances. The deal is expected to close by the end of June. Stream Data Centers plans to use the site for a new data center development. Now, with soaring utility bills, energy costs are a key factor of discussion in Albany, especially during budget season. And as Channel 2's Ron Plants reports, the debate for lawmakers and Governor Hochul may be heating up with the leak of a NYSERDA memo.
Let's go back to last summer when Governor Hochul started hinting to us about pulling back on climate law goals.
Realized that we cannot accomplish what those objectives were back in before I became governor in a time frame that's going to not hurt ratepayers.
So now in this state budget period, election year, and time of utility bill consumer fear and outrage, even as Democratic state lawmakers call for energy bill credits or rebates from the state, comes this memo from NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, with cost estimates for climate law compliance. For example, existing climate goals could push gasoline costs to more than $2 a gallon, above existing prices at time of enactment. Then, with all the electric conversion cost for households with natural gas or oil heat, they could face cost over an additional $4,000. The memo also says the marketplace cannot yet provide enough renewable energy, electric vehicles, or heat pumps or other technology to meet the stated goals in the 2019 law. That memo also refers to the burden on small and mid-sized businesses, stating a utility cost could go up as much as 46% for them. Environmental advocates are upset that the memo and other measures could give Governor Hochul the political cover to roll back some more provisions of the climate law, and the state is way behind on its renewable energy production goals. And finally, that the governor has not done enough to meet those goals. While it's not clear what the governor may do in the coming weeks on energy policy, some upstate Democratic lawmakers want and expect to talk it over more so, perhaps even beyond state budget passage.
If anything's coming out of this conversation, all of us have taken a hard look at what these costs are for the first time, if not for this, because I know a lot of people just paid their bill and went on because it was kind of, a smaller part of their budget. But now people are debating whether or not to pay their medical bills, their housing, their heating.
Well, that was Ron Plants reporting. If you walk or drive in downtown Buffalo, you'll soon notice a safety change. Starting next month, the state DOT is installing pedestrian intervals at all intersections along Elm and the Oak Street corridor specifically. That means pedestrians will get the walk signal a few seconds before drivers get a green light to turn. Officials say the goal is to make it easier for drivers to see people in the crosswalk and reduce crashes in downtown. Now, still ahead, a new crisis stabilization center is already busy serving people in mental health crises with round-the-clock care. We have a look at how that works ahead on Daybreak. Now, making health news this morning, a new mental health crisis stabilization center in Buffalo is already seeing high demand. Just 1 month after opening, it's designed as an alternative to the emergency room for people experiencing a mental health crisis, and it offers round-the-clock care for both adults and children. Channel 2's Lauren Hall explains how it all works.
In its first month, more than 175 people in crisis have turned to the Best Response Intensive Crisis Stabilization Center on Niagara Street.
It means everything. The need has always been there, as we know, and the community is ready and reaching out to us and coming to our center.
It's a first-of-its-kind facility in Western New York offering immediate help for anxiety, depression, substance use, or any other mental health crisis.
We utilize the phrase recipients or recipients of our care. They can stay up to 23 hours and 59 minutes. However, what we've seen so far with our early data is that our recipients are typically staying anywhere around 4 to 5 hours. In comparison, the wait times within our hospital settings are much longer than that.
And so far, more than 24 children have received treatment.
The center Although one building is separated down the middle with a big wall so that our children's services and our adult services stay separated. They never commingle.
Best Self's VP of Clinic Services and Care Coordination, Paige Hawkins, says the biggest impact so far may be reaching people who otherwise would have not sought out help at all.
It is a very calm environment, and a lot of the feedback that we've already received really sends that message home.
The center is open 24 hours a day at 430 Niagara Street. Anyone experiencing a mental health crisis can walk in or call 716-961-7400.
We are the place now that you can come to, irregardless of insurance, what your presenting concern is, what you define as a crisis. We are here and our doors are open.
On your side, Lauren Hall, Channel 2 News.
Nice to see an interesting new addition to the medical space in Buffalo. And Kevin, last day of February here.
Yes.
Doesn't feel like it.
No.
If you flip-flop the days, it'd be
it is strange.
Make more sense, right?
It is strange how we're ending February on a high note, but we're going to begin March with, I think this is a safe bet. Our coldest day of all, look at it this way, our coldest day of all of March, I think is going to be tomorrow.
Okay, spring, full steam ahead.
Yes,
here we go.
Yeah, that's right. So you have to deal with a couple days in the 20s. And again, tomorrow's high is only 23, I think I have. And I think that's going to be, of all 31 days in March, the day that'll end up being with the lowest high temperature. If you follow me there, I apologize for the oxymoron. And another weird thing, our high for the day is happening right now. Our afternoon's going to be in the 30s. Okay, so we're not going to warm up from here on out. So meteorological winter ends today. Meteorologists, because the equinox and the solstice vary in date by a day or two, but you know it's easy to categorize the 3 months. The 3 coldest and snowiest months are December, January, and February. See you later. So that's meteorological winter, and the last day is today. And of course, you know, the one thing that throws the fly in the ointment is when it's a leap year, because you get that extra day. So here we go, the February 28th. So let's wrap it up. We had below average temperatures all 3 months, including February. All below average temperatures all 3 months. We had right around average snow in December. You probably remember above average snow in January, and we had average snow in February as well. Interestingly, our highest snow total for a day was 2 inches of snow, and we had one day in February. Other than that, it was like nuisance snow, right? Like a half inch, like an inch every other day, kind of a pain in the butt kind of a snow, but not too bad. And our coldest reading we had for the winter, -9. We hit 61 on January 9th. Our snowiest day, according to the National Weather Service office, which is based at the airport, only about 7 inches of snow one day. Of course, other areas had more. And we had about an inch of rain. You might remember how mild it was the week after Christmas. We had an inch of rain. So those are some of the records that we had. Okay, what to expect now for your day today? A mix of sun and clouds today. Partly cloudy, if you will. There'll be a coating of snow in some spots. If you're driving by the NYPA line, you'll encounter some flakes overnight. Maybe a coating when you wake up tomorrow. Tomorrow will start off mostly cloudy and end up partly cloudy. The northern flow will bring in some below average temperatures for our Sunday. I think we'll have okay viewing for you've heard about the planetary parade tonight. You prepare to be underwhelmed, okay? There's going to be about 3 or 4 stars that are visible to the naked eye, all in the same section of the sky. It's not going to be anything super amazing, but if you have a telescope and if you could see the horizon, you'll be able to see 6 planets with relatively close to each other. That's tonight. Anyway, Monday, as you can see, we get to a sunny sky. So again, in the 30s this afternoon, partly cloudy skies. We'll get into the 20s tonight. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a high around 23 degrees, the northern flow. Lots of sun on March 2nd, Monday, but temperatures will be a little bit below average. A weak system moves its way through on Tuesday, and then 40s we go. And Rob, I think we're around 50 next weekend or so for our highs. And I think the St. Patrick's Day parade, it looks like it's going to be leaning above average in the temperature department.
We will take that. Better than the frigid wind and cold and snow that we've had in past years. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Well, in North Buffalo today, Steel Leaf Brewing Company is hosting a farewell party as it prepares to close its doors for good. The owners say the decision comes after ongoing economic challenges. Their final celebration starts later today at 6 p.m. And this weekend, Buffalo skaters are getting one last chance to hit the ice at Canal Side. The regular season wrapped up last weekend, but the cold temperatures are allowing organizers to extend skating for one final weekend. They say tens of thousands of people have visited the canal and the skating rink this season with strong turnout despite the frigid weather.
Looking ahead at the forecast, this weekend looks like we'll still be able to pull off another weekend of skating, so we figured we'd give the Buffalonians just one last chance to get down here on the ice. The wintry conditions look great for skating, but it won't be super cold, which I think is the perfect time to come down.
Well, skating will be open today from noon to 7 and tomorrow, the colder of the two, from 11 to 6. Admission and skate rentals will be discounted to just $5 each. And spring is just around the corner, as we've been telling you, and right now is a great chance to get ahead of your outdoor planting. Jackie Albarella is taking us to the garden this morning, telling us more about winter sowing.
Winter sowing is something that's become really popular, although it's been around for years. My friend Joanne has been doing it for years and years. Find a plastic container that has a lid. What you're creating is a small greenhouse. Now you need to put a few holes in the top of it, and you sow these just like you sow any other plant. You want to close the lid and make sure that there's a few holes in the top. If there isn't any, poke some holes in there because you need to let the steam evaporate. Remember, it's going to be like a greenhouse. It's going to get pretty hot on sunny days. Then I take some tape just to be sure that it's securely closed, and I put a few pieces of tape around the edges. I'm going to put this outside in a sunny spot. You want it to get sunshine, and also make sure it's an open spot so that as the snow melts or as the rain comes down, it's going to water this through the winter months. There's a few advantages to winter sowing. First of all, it's a lot easier than setting up lights and trays and everything in your house. But also, the thing about winter sowing is that these plants tend to be hardier and do better once they're in your garden because they've already been outside. They've already adapted to the conditions that we have in our area. So this year, try some winter sowing. It's something fun to do in the middle of the winter, and you'll be rewarded with plants that are ready to go in the ground. I'm Jackie Albarella for Channel 2 Daybreak Saturday.
No, thank you, Jackie. And coming up on Daybreak, a Western New York woman is sharing her story about battling with a condition that's changed her life. We'll share her message about never giving up. Now, today marks Rare Disease Day, a time to raise awareness for the more than 300 million people worldwide living with a rare condition. 2 on Your Side's Kelly Dunzik spoke with a Cheektowaga woman who's sharing her personal journey.
I was diagnosed with a brain cyst. The symptoms that I was experiencing didn't line up with what the cyst symptoms would be.
So Kimberly Nicholas saw a gene therapist who diagnosed her with mitochondrial disease, a hereditary disease that impacts around 1 in 5,000 people. That diagnosis meant Kimberly quickly needed to learn a lot.
I knew nothing. Only from 7th grade science class that you find out mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
And mitochondrial disease can have a big impact on your major organs. Kimberly gave up driving because it causes muscle weakness for her. She also has eye issues and problems swallowing and breathing. There is no cure.
It is a very lonely and isolated disease, especially if you don't know. A lot of people don't know what it is, and a lot of doctors don't know what it is.
There's many different types of mitochondrial disorder, and some of them we're still discovering. So there's over 1,200 genes that are involved in the mitochondria. Some of them we don't really know even now what they're doing.
As a researcher at the UB Jacobs School, Dr. Jesse Sloan is trying to figure that out and is testing specific therapies.
What we're trying to do in the field is come up with a treatment that can broadly treat lots of mitochondrial disorders. And so that's kind of the gold standard, is like coming up with a treatment that can hit all of them at the same time and help more patients.
Kimberly wants to encourage people to advocate for themselves until they get the answers they deserve.
I was standing up for myself. I was making sure that the doctors were hearing me. It's very difficult to do, but you just have to keep, firm, and this is what's going on. And if you experience a doctor that is not listening, go to another doctor, find another person, because that's what I did. And finally, somebody heard and listened.
On your side, Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.
Now, almost everyone knows that guitar riff from Rascal Flatts. Life is a Highway, and his tour will be down at KeyBank Center today. The group performing later tonight as part of their tour. Tickets are still available, and the show starts at 7 p.m. All the Cars fans out there, the Rascal Flatts fans, you should have some flats while he's in Buffalo.
Absolutely. It's a Tom Cochrane song, a fine Canadian artist that was
there you go.
covered very well by Rascal Flatts.
Indeed, yeah, famously covered. I think that one might be more known.
Think so?
Nowadays than Tom, yeah, I
think so.
At least my generation.
Oh, there you go. That's true for people there. I remember when that Canadian rocker, Tom Cochrane. We're in the 40s now. It's not going to last. We're going to sort of dwindle back into the 30s for the afternoon plans. I'll be out there skating somewhere with my daughter. And tomorrow in the 20s, unfortunately, and we're in the 20s again on Monday. But a warm-up is coming. 40s and 50s are coming, albeit with rain opportunities. Oh, we got time to go to the 7-day. Here you go. There's your 7-day forecast. And by the way, on Monday, we're flipping back to 2 zones. So Niagara and Orleans and Buffalo will be sort of condensed into one, and then Southern Tier will have its own little zone as well, because things are different down there south of Springville. So there you go. We're going to warm up this week, guys.
Like flubber reabsorbing its little blobs.
I'm too old for that.
Yeah, there you go. Right. I'm thinking of Tom Cochrane now. You kind of sounded like him there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you back tomorrow.
On TV, we think. I think we're on TV.